Now, before we get into it, if you're already interested in migrating to Statamic and you're looking for someone to handle the migration for you, the link in the description will take you to my website, where you can find more information about this kind of work, which is what I do. Now let's get into it. If you're thinking about moving your website off of WordPress, SEO is probably the thing that's giving you the most pause. You spent years building up your rankings, getting your pages indexed, earning backlinks, and the idea of watching all that disappear because you switch platforms is a real concern. So let's talk about what actually happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do to make sure it doesn't go sideways. One of the assumptions that some people might get wrong when it comes to SEO is the role that your platform actually takes when it comes to contributing to or even preserving your SEO. In reality, it's your content. The quality of your content, the consistency of your publishing, your backlinks, even the page speed plays a part. While there might be some risk in migrating your website to Statamic or to some other platform, the destination CMS isn't really where the risk factor is. Poor execution is the biggest risk factor, whether that's Statamic or anything else, even another WordPress install. Now, before even starting a migration, it'll be important to capture what your website is actually doing already in terms of SEO with a tool like Screaming Frog, which will crawl your site and capture each URL and surface some information about each one of them. Plus, you can export it as a spreadsheet so that it can be a valuable reference for later in your project so that you can evaluate your work later on. It should go without saying that every migration project needs some careful planning. When coming from WordPress, you'll need to account for every post type, taxonomy, content block, and custom field. If you're coming to Statamic, mapping these things is actually pretty straightforward. The blueprints and field sets are easily configured. In fact, they're much more easily configured than in WordPress. For any kind of migration project, there are always some other things to consider as well. If it's a redesign project, are there any kinds of content that need to be kept that you need to preserve the URLs for? Is there any kind of content that isn't going to be kept, but might have some significant link juice that needs to be accounted for? In the first case, your URL structure is going to need to stay the same. In the other, you're going to have to manage your 301 redirects thoughtfully. Maybe this is an opportunity to rethink the entire structure of your website and its URL system. If you do, 301s are going to play an important role. Now, a WordPress post type is the equivalent to a collection in Statamic, and each post in that collection would be considered an entry. The configuration page for each collection within the control panel lets you configure the URL structure for that collection pretty easily without any code. Whereas with WordPress, this has traditionally been much more involved to do without plugins or access to the codebase directly. In addition to the URL structure, the next thing we need to manage is the metadata. This is the stuff that gets surfaced in search engine results and preview links. And this can all be imported from WordPress too. There are a few add-ons available in the Statamic marketplace to handle metadata, including ones from the Rad Pack, which is the core Statamic team. But this can all be configured directly in your templates if that's what you'd rather do. Either way, your meta titles, your descriptions, and structured data that you imported from WordPress will have a home in your new Statamic project. Each collection's blueprints should have these fields set up in Statamic in advance for the migration to be comprehensive. Statamic's importer tool actually makes all of this stuff pretty easy and takes care of most of the heavy lifting. Being properly prepared ahead of time is where the bulk of the work really is. Once your site is live, the work isn't quite done yet either. It's worth doing a recrawl to validate the new site against what we exported at the beginning of the project, confirming that everything landed where it should and there are no unexpected errors. Even better, do this in a staging environment to validate all these changes before ever going live to production. Finally, don't forget to keep one eye on Google Search Console. You want to make sure that things continue to be indexed properly and nothing's falling through the cracks. So if SEO is the thing that's making you hesitate before making a move, I hope this makes it feel a little bit more manageable. Remember, the destination platform isn't the risk, the process is. And with the right preparation, it's a very manageable process. If you're thinking about migrating your site and want to talk through what that could look like for you, click the link in the description to go visit Cascadia Digital, which is my website. You can get in touch with me there, or you can download my free migration readiness checklist. And if you found this video useful, please leave a comment and subscribe, and check out the rest of my videos that hopefully will make your decisions a little bit easier. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.